I believe that most people deserve to find love. But you know, love is one of the things that is the most elusive thing to find when you're a weeb. See, many people have this misconception or believe that us guys who are into comics and anime and things of that nature, we're all some basement dwelling, very unhygienic, unhealthy, pale skinned, malnourished looking people who don't have social skills. And while I can say that's not true of everyone, I have, to be honest, I have observed some maidenless behavior. And I'm talking to my guys here. While this video may be comedic in nature, I'm gonna give you some serious pro tips that'll help you turn things around and help you get a girlfriend according to anime. Let me just say this before we really get into the meat and potatoes of our video. I'm gonna need you guys to like, comment, share, and sub up to the page if you're watching this on YouTube, and drop me a follow if you're watching this on TikTok. Before we start our list, here are a few disclaimers that you will need to keep in mind. The first disclaimer is that in this video, there will be both real and comedic advice that is not 100% guaranteed to work. What? So, our last disclaimer, make sure that you're emotionally mature enough to handle the rejection that may just happen. Because, let's say you do one of these suggestions or a combination, or you do everything right, really, at the end of the day, she could still say no or just say, I just want to be friends. So, one thing that you want to do is always keep your cool. Make sure that you don't get mad or that you don't lash out or harm her or yourself. We are not condoning or recommending that you do that. Please don't do that. And let's say that things do go successfully and you do end up getting the date with the girl of your dreams. Remember that she owes you nothing, so don't expect anything that hasn't been pre-established. You may just take her out on a date and she may just say, thanks, buddy. Instead of getting mad, just take the L and charge it to the game and move on to the next one. That's the best thing that you can do. So to start our list, the first way that you can get a girlfriend according to anime is, of course, the locker method. Now, this was perfected in Kaguya-sama Love is War. So all you gotta do is slam the locker in a startling fashion and state your intention. This is one of the most direct methods that you can employ if you want to ask out a girl. Now, it may scare her and she may say no because of being startled and scared. But that's the risk that you take if you employ this method. Not one I personally have done in the past, but it is a method and it was successful a number of times in this anime. Now, the second thing that you can do is be nonchalant, but being nonchalant is a double-edged sword. You could be too nonchalant and then she thinks you're not interested, but you have to be just the right of nonchalant. You know, we saw a masterclass on how to do this when we looked at Assassination Classroom. The defense agent Karasuma. Now, he was a stern guy. He was also there to monitor, of course, Kuro-sensei, but he was very nonchalant and he was strictly about his duty. He never ever simped over Irina, who was the female teacher in that classroom, who was also an assassin. At this end of the day, he did end up getting a girl, and when things naturally evolved, he did end up bagging Irina. He always stayed vigilant on his duty and he stayed focused on that instead of running after her professing love, even though he knew that she was a baddie. Which leads us to our third point, that you have to remain focused on your goals. You can't go places running and professing your love as soon as you meet them. You gotta be, women love men who have a straight focused goal. Look at Luffy and look at Zoro in One Piece. None of them ever go into meeting a woman with their nose wide open. They are calm, cool, collected. They're trying to help their friends or whatever conflict is happening in that particular arc. They end up bagging a number of baddies, pushing off any romantic feelings so that they don't get distracted from their larger goal at hand. Now, as far as being obsessed with women and overly simping, well, that's point number 4. Now, we know that Sanji, he's never going to beat the allegations of simping. I mean, he was always running after Nami and Robin, but because of Oda's rules of there being no affection on the Straw Hat crew, we see him get rejected on a regular. But if you look back at One Piece and you look at the arcs, Sanji consistently was pulling. I mean, he had all the women in Wano loving him because of his cooking skills. They loved him in Fishman Island, which led to a very stupid plot of him having nosebleeds that made him need a blood transfusion. Even in pre-time skip One Piece, in his very own art, the Baratier, he was pulling women at the restaurant. And he was able to win Pudding's heart, even though she was a young woman who was legally of the age of consent in Japan, but still a very young woman. He did it by being himself and by giving her a sincere compliment. See, Pudding was always so self-conscious and told that she was a monster because of her third eye. But Sanji was the only person, or really the first person, to ever from the heart genuinely tell her that she was beautiful and that her eye was beautiful. And that really touched her heart, and you saw a transformation happening. Her believing that she was a monster and this evil, wicked person, to really Sanji and Pudding delivering us one of the best love stories in One Piece, which in itself is a feat because Oda generally tends to not really write love all that much in One Piece. It's kind of something that he kind of stays away from. What we can learn from Sanji is be yourself. If you have a special talent, lean on that. Maybe you're funny, you could draw, you could dance, whatever that is, lean into that. And sincere commendation, being honest with a woman, is always appreciated. They may say that they don't want men to lie, but honestly, believe your lies. See, we could learn a lot from Usopp because Usopp was confident, and he was confident in his lies. You know, we've all heard the old saying, lie, lie, and then lie some more. See, even though Kaya definitely knew that he was lying, he was confident in his lies, he always had something to say, he was entertaining her, and he was confident in himself more than he would be anywhere else in the series. He has the most riz and confidence when speaking to the girl that he likes. See, you gotta believe that you're the hype, just like my guy Vegeta.
Do you really believe your own hype that much? I am the hype!
You don't have to become an overconfident jerk, but you definitely gotta have enough confidence to speak to somebody if you expect to get somebody. I can't tell you how many girls I pulled off confidence alone back when I was in the dating pool. Being a confident guy and being positive definitely works. Don't be coming in there telling no emo jokes or about how people hate you or you're a loser or in sad faces. Women don't want to see that. They want to have a good time, they want to have fun. Now, before I give you more golden advice, make sure that you like, comment, and share this video. Make sure that you sub up to the page, and if you're watching this on TikTok, make sure that you drop me a follow. Now, our fifth pro tip is one that I only recommend in GTA, but if you are like me, you're a fan of Mr. Yujiro Hama. Let's say the girl that you like has a boyfriend already. If you sense that he has a lower power level than you, why not just smoke? See, Yujiro went to this party, he saw Baki's mom, she was looking bad, and he made a move up on her. Her snooty, uptight boyfriend tried to tell him to stay away from her, and Yujiro just, casually pulled up to his estate, smoked him, smoked all his bodyguards, and then proceeded to have his way with Baki's mom, and on the first stroke, Baki was conceived. Again, this is only advice that I would give you in GTA, but if you see a scrawny guy with a hot girl, you know what to do. Our number 7 method is always be clean and smell good. Really, this one should have been number 1, right before having good self-confidence. Women are very sensitive to smells, and people in general don't like people who smell bad. So make sure that you are getting busy with some soap and water and getting into every crack and crevice of your body, because you do not want to smell like old Chinese food. That is gonna stand in the way of you getting any type of attention from women. And if you wear cologne, just put a little spritz upon yourself. Don't be dousing yourself, and don't be rubbing the whole magazine cologne samples all over your body. See, one character that knew the importance of smelling good was Ichiya from Fairy Tail. This guy, he had a whole magical system built around perfumes and different smells. He was able to control the battlefield with just scent alone. And really, you can control your ability to pull the baddies with a good enough cologne. It could be a whole conversation starter if you find one that works well with your body chemistry. Do not roll up on any girl stinking if you haven't washed yourself and think you gonna pull, and then be mad when they don't want to be around you. And you never ever, and I mean ever, want to be remembered as that stink musty guy. Also, don't be afraid to like, comment, and share this video around. Sub up to the page if you're watching this on YouTube, and if you're watching this on TikTok, make sure to drop me a follow. The next pro tip is never be afraid to say no. Just because you like someone doesn't mean that you gotta say yes to everything that they want. For real though, some of y'all be folding a little too quickly when y'all get just a little bit of attention from a woman. Although you're not gonna be a rude or a mean guy, you definitely want to be a guy who can stand firm in his convictions, stand on business, and be a leader, and not be some type of doormat for her to walk all over. Tip number 10 is, this one is also a very important one. Touch grass and go out and meet people. If you want to get experience speaking to women, you gotta go outside and you gotta actually speak to women. No anime protagonist does not touch grass. Almost in every circumstance, they are interacting with real women. Even if it's an isekai, like they're kind of trapped there and they got to interact with all the women that are there. By doing this, not only will you get more experience, but you'll be able to let things progress in a natural way and be able to actually hold a meaningful conversation and learn how to speak to women effectively. And also, another effective thing that you can do is like, comment, share this video around, and sub up to the page and drop me a follow if you're watching this on TikTok. But now at number 11, since we're speaking about isekai, understand that 99.9% of women are not going to have the personality of these anime women. If you're thinking that you're going to meet a girl like Alberta from Overlord, or meet a woman who is completely obsessed with you like Anna was obsessed with Okuma from Shimoneta, think again. And if you do by some chance meet a girl who easily falls in love with you, she's probably crazy and a little unbalanced in the head, and she will most likely resemble or act exactly like Yuno from Future Diaries, and we all know how crazy and obsessive she was. That stuff gets old real quick. So understand, you want to meet a really balanced girl mentally, which is the perfect segue for our next point. Keep your expectations realistic. You may not get Zendaya, and even if you do, you're gonna get this Zendaya, not that Zendaya. And when it comes to your expectations, hey, you might get the shorter girls, you might get the ones who are undeveloped, you might get a big back. It's all good. Treat her like a queen. You know, even if you end up coming out with a Nightcrawler, that's still a W. You still got something. Treat her right and be faithful. Don't cheat. No, this is how you gotta walk when you got a good woman in your life. Notice how there is no eye contact with the opposing female force. Body maintains its current velocity. Mind is focused on vowels, and eyes are only focused on the path forward, while maintaining maximum distance from other women. You know, even my boy Gorn, he was able to pull an older Nightcrawler, and that's a W. And if he would have been trying to make more happen in that situation, he definitely would have succeeded. Sometimes that's how it goes. So start out simple and talk to regular women. There are a lot of beautiful women out there, and nobody talks to them because a lot of guys are just intimidated and they just stand around looking at them like weirdos. Be confident and be normal and have a normal conversation. You don't have to get her number and all her information on the first interaction. And whatever you do, make sure that you're not a creep and don't stalk her or do anything crazy. Remember, there are so many beautiful women everywhere. You're not always guaranteed to get the pretty girl right in front of you. So if you strike out, it's all good, Brody. Just move on to the next one. Before we go any further on our list, I'm gonna need you guys to make sure that you like, comment, and share this video around. If you're watching on YouTube, please sub up to the page. If you're watching it on TikTok, please drop me a follow. Now, our next pro tip is you can't buy love. Some of the most brokest hood dudes be having all the women, having multiple women. Baby moms can't pay for one kid. You do not need a whole lot of money to be having a woman. So just having a decent job, just being able to pay for the meal and do normal things is just fine. Sometimes not having money does work to your advantage. I remember some of the times when I was brokest, I had more girls on me than ever. Not that you want to be broke, but at the same time, don't think that you're just gonna buy the affection of a young lady. I mean, look at Kenshin. He's a wandering samurai. This girl gave him a place to live. He got like 3 other girls chasing him around, and he's a guy who's basically a murderer and a criminal. He has the same credentials as any guy that went to jail and recently got out. Now, our next pro tip, stay healthy and exercise. We always make so much fun of Vegeta and his messed up hairline, but that man was putting in pain in the gym. He was working hard, especially when it came to that gravity chamber. And then you look at guys like Asta. You look at Mashal. Mashal is in a world of magic, and he just literally muscles everything and is able to survive in a whole magical society with literally no magic powers at all. When it comes down to it, don't puff on that copium of, oh, women really like dad bods, because all the women who are conventionally attractive, they don't have mom bods. So why would we want to be showing up to them, especially if you want a woman of that caliber with a dad bod? Make sure that you keep yourself healthy, eat healthy, stop being a gooner.
Stop it. Get some help.
And also make sure that you have some type of exercise activity going on in your life, because it can lead to you getting all types of diseases, and it will affect your stamina and your performance at the times when you need it most. And you need to start it right now. At this point, please make sure that you like, comment, and share this video around. Sub up to the page if you're watching on YouTube, and drop me a follow if you're watching this on TikTok. So as for our final method, which is the hardest method but the most effective, is to save save her life. Now, all you have to do is find a girl that you like, and when she's in trouble, spring into action. Now, it may cost you your life, or maybe your limbs, or possibly maim or hurt you and the homies, but if you successfully save her life, she's almost guaranteed to give you a yes, if not for any other reason, out of pure gratitude. So if you manage to save her life, you can definitely get a girlfriend, according to anime. So at the end of the day, I'm a regular guy like you. I'm not some muscle-bound dude who's trying to shovel red pill content down your throat. Instead, I really care for my guys, and I thought that this video was actually something that would be fun to make and something that was necessary. In this video, we had over a dozen pro tips, and I hope that you use the ones that are pro tips. And on that note, just want to remind you, I am the Black Anime Dad, and although I may not always be around, I'll be there when you need me. I shall see you in the next one.